Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast. Do we have a very interesting guest for you today? This guest is a who's who of the who's who. She's worked for some of the largest companies in the world, as well as, small, medium companies like yours and mine. But if you have questions about PR, whether you need a PR company, a PR firm, what a publicist is, you definitely want to tune in to today's show because our guest is definitely amazing. Our guest is Nicole Rodrigues, and she is the CEO and founder of her own PR firm. She is also a seasoned public relations and social media marketing pro with 19 years of experience under her belt. She's developed and executed strategic campaigns for some of the biggest names in business, such as Yahoo, Dolby, Sony Pictures Entertainment, Sony PlayStation, Hulu, MGO, Toon Hero, Demand Media, as if that wasn't enough, but Heel, MobiTV, and the Oakland Raiders. Welcome our guest today, Nicole Rodrigues. Good afternoon, Nicole. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining me. It's definitely my pleasure. So we're going to go ahead and ask everyone if they have any questions, if they have any comments, please ask them in the comment section. I'll go ahead and read them to our guests. And as always, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and share this interview because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. So Nicole, we always start off by asking our guests, because this is the number one question that our viewers want to know, but how did you get your start in PR to begin with?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually my favorite question to answer. So I like to tell people professionally, I've been in PR for about 19 years, but I feel like this was a profession that was tailor-made for me. I used to think in high school, it was like, if there was a job that combined marketing with journalism and leadership and strategy, that would be me. Like that would be perfect for me in my career. And then when I went to college, I thought I was going to get into broadcast journalism just because I didn't know what PR was. And it was my broadcast journalism teacher, my freshman year, that kind of pulled me to the side and was like, not that I don't think you could do well as a broadcast journalist, but have you ever considered PR? And I was like, I don't know what that is, but whatever. And so he actually gave me a little bit of an assessment test. I took it on a Tuesday, got the answers or whatever back on Thursday. And he's like, exactly what I thought. You need to take PR 101, please, in your next semester. Let me know what you think before you declare your major as broadcast journalism. And I took my PR 101 class literally a couple of weeks in. I was like, this is it. This is absolutely it. He was right. This was like the profession made for me. And from then on, it was like I staked my claim. I had a vision that one day I would start a firm, but I knew I needed to work in the industry in order to really do well and build a reputation. So I guess that's kind of how, I got into PR, and thankfully my very first job, this is also a very good thing that I like to tell people: never burn bridges, even at a young age. My very first boss who got me into my first PR job, it was the end of my junior year of college. I used to babysit her kids in high school.
Oh,
and
wow.
the director of corporate communications for Cisco Systems when I used to babysit for her. And she was like, honey, the kids miss you so much. What have you been up to? And I was telling her all about school, and she looked at me and just said, please tell me that after all these years, you know exactly what I do for a living, right? And nope, had no idea. I was just babysitting your kids during the summer. And she told me, she's like, I'm in tech PR. Like, would you like to be my intern? And that was it. She opened me up to tech PR. Obviously, being in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, where I was from, it was a dream. So my senior year, I actually had a nice internship at a tech company. And I still count my blessings to this day, because without her and without her belief in me, it probably would have been a lot harder. But you never know. As young as I was watching her kids when I was 16 years old. and there I was then at 20 at that time, or 19, 20 at that time with the job.
Wow, that's incredible, an incredible story. But before we go too much further, I want to actually pick apart the term PR, publicist,
Right.
because what I found is so many people feel that a publicist or a PR firm is just for celebrities. Like celebrities are the only ones. And when I looked at your resume and your bio, I mean, you've done a lot, but you're not really focused on entertainment. You're focused on helping companies, whether they're large Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies, like some of the ones you mentioned. But why would a company use a PR firm?
Yeah, that is a really, really great question. I think one of the beauties of being in the PR industry is that with that, you can be in any industry you want.
Mhm.
Any company, celebrities, any business, for God's sakes, even YouTubers or whatever, everyone needs solid brand building storylines, and most want attention from the media, right? Unless you're buying advertising, attention from the media is all earned.
Mhm.
And in order for that company to really stand out and get the coverage that they want with the storylines that they want and the messaging that they want, they need someone that understands their storyline as
Mhm.
well as they understand the media. And that's what I love. I feel like celebrities are all well and good, and I've worked with my fair share. And what I've learned is I prefer to work with businesses because internally, if a celebrity represents a business or is part of a business, great.
Mhm.
Um, but with businesses, it's so multifaceted. You can take them from startup phase before anyone knows them, help them build their storyline, help them tell their story, and then continue helping them tell their story as it develops. People don't realize that it's not a one and done thing. Well, I
Mhm.
launched a company and I got one article. People have short attention spans. You need continued coverage, continued storyline building, especially if you are innovating. If you are constantly innovating, people need to know about it. And
Mhm.
when people know about it, they believe in your company because, for the most part, editorial is not purchased.
Mhm.
Anyone can buy an ad, right? You can buy space if you've got the money for it. But editorial, really getting that journalists to care, to pay attention to you or your CEO or your CTO, CFO, that takes work. And that for me, it's much harder. And so I love it. I would prefer to do the harder work, to be honest, because I know not everybody can do it. And because of that, it's really helped me grow in the ranks in this entire profession because I'm willing to dig in, get the work done, and even show companies where they had storylines that they didn't even know.
Mhm.
That's my favorite part.
That's excellent because that was bringing me to my next question. How do you create or go about creating a storyline for a company? You know, that company may just have a simple product and service like, I sell pens. This is my thing. I'm a pen salesman. But how do you take that and turn it into a storyline?
That's a perfect example. So we're going to go with the pen, right? Let's pretend that you are a prospective client
Mhm.
and you come to me and you say, Nicole, I have these amazing, I think that was a hot pink pen, right?
Yes, it was a red Sharpie.
A red Sharpie. This is the first
Mhm.
red Sharpie that also, let's say it erases with water. I
Mhm.
don't know. We'll
Mhm.
figure something like that out, right?
Mhm.
And you can just say, I, went into production um, and created, we only have 100 right now, but I know that once the word gets out, this red Sharpie that erases with water is going to be everything. And I would say, okay, why red? Why a Sharpie? Why with water? And you would
Mhm.
say, well, you know what? Back when I was a little girl, I realized that everyone at school only used black and blue pens and Sharpies. And I knew that as a female, I really wanted to make sure that I brought more color to life, especially in the business world. So here I am with this red pen, and eventually I want to go into hot pink and purple and everything else, right? Let's pretend those color Sharpies don't exist. So
Mhm.
I would say, okay, great. Well, that's a great start. Now what else? Why water? Well, I used to mark my body up with Sharpies all the time,
Mhm.
and I'd have marks all over my hands and it just wouldn't look professional. And I needed to come up with a formula that did this because I know there are other people like me. So we'd get into this really deep conversation because with every single product, every single company, there's a vision, and there's usually a personal touch, a personal reason why something came about. And then we'd go into, okay, well, who else is on your team? Oh, well, my dad actually makes the Sharpies in his basement. I don't know. Or, this is happening over here. Or, we employ single moms to help do XYZ. Well, great. From there, we've just come up with about 10 different stories, right? And so helping you as a business owner even see what the possibilities are. And then in my head, I'm thinking, well, I know this media person might care about this. This media person likes to talk to female entrepreneurs. This one likes to talk about consumer products. Well, great. Let's get this started, and let's decide what your first official announcement is going to be. I'll also do an assessment on what your website looks like. If your website is not consumer friendly, you could send all the business in the world to it, but people aren't going to buy if they don't see that it's easy to navigate. So all of those little things, I like to help businesses with the full circle, from getting a story told to what is it that you want to do? Is it just building awareness so that you can get more partners on board? Or is it actually driving sales? Okay, well, then we need to talk about what your digital marketing strategy looks like to pull that together, right? So it's just not every publicist, I would say, takes it this seriously, but I consider myself a PR practitioner, a very serious one. And I love what I do. This is my art. So it's beautiful because I get to choose which clients I want now, being a business owner. So if I believe in your company, your product, and your story, watch out. I'll work like I'm literally on your team, and so will the rest of my team at the firm.
Wow, that was amazing. And if you're just now tuning in and you listen to that example of the red Sharpie, let me tell you, that was not rehearsed. That was not planned. We didn't give the red Sharpie example to Nicole earlier and say, come up with your response. That just shows how wonderful she is and how much experience she has in this industry, because just right on that spot, she came up with different examples on how to sell or how to offer or how to brand a red Sharpie. That, my friend, is a skill, and it's a talent that just doesn't happen overnight. One of the things that you mentioned is you discussed digital marketing. Now, what are some of the changes that you've seen in the PR industry over the last 20 years?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question and observation. What I've seen in the industry is that there are multiple platforms, and because there are multiple platforms, you find that companies think that they need to be everywhere all at once. And at the end of the day, as the CEO and anyone in operations, or even the CMO in marketing, you have to know where you want to cast your net, where there are the most fish. So I would say for just about any business who wants to make sure that their leaders stand out, be on Twitter. The reason for that is you will have more media on Twitter. So even if not all of your prospective clients or customers are on Twitter, media are on Twitter, because media is where they get Twitter's where a lot of media get love, right? They are judged based on how many people read their stories. So if you are someone who is sharing their stories, retweeting, showing them love, hey, I read this is great, it helps your PR team because you're also getting yourself into the mix. It's like going to a networking party and like, oh, wow, I just retweeted this from, Kara Swisher, and she's noticed me, and now she's following me. Well, that's great, because then at that point, you've already caught someone's attention. And when we go and we pitch that media person, they're going to have some sort of familiarity, right? To pull, sort of piece that together. The other thing is, if you're a product company and you're visual, get yourself on Instagram. You absolutely need to be there, because that's where a majority of the people are. And now there are ways to click through, purchase, do all of that stuff. People are judged based on their Instagram follower numbers. So if you are a consumer product, get yourself on Instagram right away. Facebook is good for, multiple reasons. So I would say for me, because I have such a strong personal following on Facebook, both professional and personal, every time I do something, my client does something, or whatever, I put that on my Facebook because I know that those are all the people cheering me on. And what happens is they remember, oh yeah, that's right, Nicole and our PR group, you guys are doing so well. By the way, I remembered another person that might need your help. That's great, right? And it's all very natural for me because it's sharing with the people that I love. So it's really just figuring out which ones and not trying to tap into every single one. And that's why, again, I would do an assessment with any company of any size, literally public company, private company, small or big. Everyone needs to pay attention, because if you're trying to be too many places at once or trying to be too many things at once, you're going to confuse your own market and you're not going to reach your business goals. So, you know, digital marketing does play a huge role, and you can't discount that.
Now, Nicole, as a business consultant, one of the questions that I'm often asked, is people will come to me and they say, Sharifah, I want to be on social media. Everything that I've read everywhere says I have to be on social media, but I don't have anything to say on social media. What do I do? And my response to that is always, if you don't have anything that you find interesting about your company, how do you expect your customers or your potential clients to find your company interesting? And so that's what I always ask. Based on that same question, what is your response?
Yeah, that's actually a really good and common question. I'm with you on that. People will ask, especially if they're starting new companies. My answer to that is, if you're starting a company or building a product and you have nothing to say about it, then why are you building it? Right? If you built it from usually a need, right? A founder will see that there's a hole in the market. They'll see that there are issues and build. Well, if you're building based on something, get into those conversations. Again, for example, let's go back to the red pen. Well, it's just a red Sharpie that's water resistant or comes off with water. What should I talk about? Well, first of all, you should be on Instagram, because you can show, are there local artists that can draw just with your red Sharpie? Can they make videos that show a drawing and then they start erasing and redrawing? That's fun. You're showing other people putting your product in motion. Maybe you have a couple of friends who will just do that for free. That's great free content, right? Or female entrepreneurs. If you're a female entrepreneur and you want to raise others up, get into their conversations, retweet them, like, right on, girl, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm a female CEO myself, and I know it can't be easy, you know, so keep on, whatever. And then you start getting people in your circle. So you find those common denominators, right? Those things that you can communicate about, whether it's your product or just something that product touches that you're passionate about, and just slowly weave yourself in and just have fun with it. There's no right or wrong way. And the nice thing is, with social media, for the most part, unless you say something derogatory or whatever, you can usually delete it and redo it. Yeah. Otherwise, someone's going to find you and they're going to screenshot that and you're in trouble. Then you really need a PR person.
Yes, definitely need a PR firm then. Yeah. But hey, so many people, unless you're a celebrity, you know, people are always trying to catch those deleted posts. Most people, you know, you can vent and delete, you know, be careful.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but yeah, you know, you're definitely a person of interest.
Absolutely. No, you definitely give wonderful advice. And if you are just now tuning in, we are speaking with Nicole Rodrigues, and we are discussing all of her PR tips, PR strategies. I know you have a website, Nicole. Where can people go to find out more information about you?
Yeah, you can go to nrprgroup.com, and there you can learn all about our company. And I would check back in about a month too. We're getting a reface, a little bit of a rebrand. Very excited. We celebrated a very big milestone for us. It was our 5-year anniversary, although I've been in the industry 19 years. It's a big deal because they say on average, majority of female-owned businesses usually go out of business within the 5-year mark. So to know that we are up and thriving and everything, that was like, you know, our gift. We're doing a nice sort of website rebrand. So you can check now, but I encourage you also to check back in about a month. We're excited about what we're going to be unveiling there with our new website.
No, that's wonderful. Most businesses, it's been my experience or my research that most businesses, one way or another, go out of business within the first couple of years. So
Yeah.
female-led companies, that's less. So they're probably the first 6 months or first couple of months. Because what I found over time is that most businesses do not have enough money in the account, in the war chest to operate and stay in business without making a profit. Most, and again, as a business consultant, this is what I talk to business owners about. You have to have enough money in reserve instead of doing what I consider a Hail Mary pass, where they only have enough money for 1 month, but they're like, hey, if I call Nicole, Nicole's going to give me in every magazine, every TV outlet, everybody's going to want to speak to me. So then I'll have enough money. And, that they typically don't have enough. So I applaud you for being in business for 5 years. That's amazing. Now, as you know, I'm a female CEO myself. What are some of the challenges you've experienced as a female-led company?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really, really great question. One of the things that I've found is, sometimes looking younger than you are can sometimes work against you. I almost didn't get a client contract. Thank goodness I did get it. I have it now. We won't call them out, but I almost didn't get the contract because the CEO thought I was lying on my resume and that somehow I was 28 years old. And I was like, well, first of all, God bless you. Second of all, ageism is a real thing, but I'm not 28. I'm actually almost 40. So my resume is not padded. I literally could introduce you to people from all of those companies, that I've worked with alongside, especially some of the bigger ones, right? And he's like, well, Yahoo and Dolby, you worked with them at Sony PlayStation and, Hulu and yeah. Yep. Yes. And I worked very hard, so it was one of those things. And he was like, well, all right, let's see a proposal. And the proposal basically spoke for itself. And they've been a client ever since, years later. So being a female who likes to take care of herself.
Look to me,
right? Sometimes it's like, oh, well, who's that young girl coming in and what is she going to tell me? I have to, I have a ritual when I get home. When I'm at home, I'm very much a girl. I'm the lady. I don't want to be the man at home. That's not what I want to do. I want to come home and be soft. I want to take a bubble bath if I need. But when I'm at work, and majority of my clients are very strong and just amazing men, really just accomplished, I have to come to the table and be just as strong because they have to trust me that I'm not going to let the ball drop, especially on their company. They have so much pride in everything that they've built. Obviously have a lot of really wonderful, strong women that I'm working with too. Great CEOs that I just, they just inspire me every day. But you have to be confident. And with my work, with all of those things, because of what I've seen, what I've been through, the mistakes I made early in my career, I am confident. I'm 100% confident. And anything I attach my name to, I actually take pride in because I know my name's on it along with my team. So I'm not going to give someone bad advice or lead them down the wrong path just because I'm hoping, So I think that is also for anyone who wants to start a business. Keep in mind, I didn't start my company till I was about 13, 14 years in the industry and built a reputation for myself, built a name for myself. And people, as soon as they found out I opened up a firm, they were like, well, you kicked butt over here. We have a recommendation for you, or I'll give you my business. I mean, I represent a company, MobiTV, right now. I used to be their in-house PR manager back starting in 2006. And as soon as I opened up my firm, it was like, I got the best. I mean, it like literally like made my heart like jump. But the CFO, she's lovely. I just adore her. She's like, Nicole, we need your help again. Like, will you help us? And I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. So, a lot of people will go in and, be hopeful. I had some money stacked aside, but I also knew that the way I work, there was no way I was going to fail. I would pay my rent and my employees before I paid myself. And I knew that that was the only way that I was going to be able to do it. And now here we are celebrating, not just hitting the 5-year mark, but like flourishing in 5 years. And it just, having all of that sort of laid out ahead of time really, really played into why we're able to grow right now. It's like, it was like I was slowly growing it for 14 years before officially starting. So
that's wonderful, wonderful. I love it. And I love how you talked about the sexism that went along with it, because I know there's definitely sexism, ageism, feminism, everything that goes into that, because I always talk about being in business, as a 25 years in business and just building businesses and creating businesses. One of the things that I found early on was that I would be asked a question and I would give a response. No matter what the response was, people were like, oh, okay. And then a man would give the same exact response or proposal or idea. And it's like, let's go with that. You hear what John said? Let's roll. I'm like, wait a minute. I just said that, so I can completely relate to what you were saying, because early on, I would be like, oh, I guess, we'll just go this way. And I didn't worry about it. But over the 25 years, now people are ask Sharifah. It doesn't matter, woman, whoever, ask Sharifah, because of the reputation that I have as a business consultant and social media expert. People come directly to me for my opinion. So it's definitely about building the reputation as opposed to just saying, hey, this is what I do.
Absolutely. Like, I'm proud of you, sister. Like, absolutely been there on the other side of the table. And of course, growing up when I was in my early 20s, I looked like a teenager. So that was even worse. It's like, who's the little girl with the squeaky voiceover in the corner trying to give us advice? I'm like, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things where now I can look back and I can laugh, but I also appreciate that because it really helped me build my boardroom voice, right? And my boardroom stature, where it's like, are you guys going to listen, or are we going to wait a few more minutes? Because, I'm just waiting for you. I've got some advice I'd like to give you that can help your company. Let's go. And so it's definitely different than, 22-year-old Nicole, but at the end of the day, any woman, it's like, don't let that get you down. Just let it be what helps you sharpen your sword, and be strong. And at the end of the day too, I love working with really great men, and I don't hold it against them at all. It's like, you know what, that stuff's in the past. Let's just get work done. Let's just go and work hard together. How about that? So I believe that women should embrace the strength that men do bring to teams, and also embrace other strong women, because none of us can do it alone, right? None of us. So I just think that it's, get your confidence in yourself through your own skills, and and try to work like everyone is of the same gender, if you will. You'll get a lot more done.
I agree. And I'm happy to see a lot of those gender roles are falling away, especially in business, because my driving force. I love to be able to focus and share other people, other businesses, and their opportunities. So Nicole, we're coming down to the end of the give us some PR advice.
Yeah. Let's see. I would say the very first thing to think about with PR is that you have to look at it as a long game. If you are brand new, your company's brand new, you're a brand new leader, don't try to get I just want to be on the cover of Forbes. You and everybody else, okay? It takes time, just like a snowball, right? Starts with one snowflake. Anyone wants to interview about whatever, you have something to say, don't let your ego get in the way. I've seen so many CEOs just fall because they're like, oh, that blog is beneath me. Oh, that reporter is beneath me. And then 2 years later, that reporter is now working at the Wall Street Journal and remembers that you thought they were beneath you. And it's, you really do need to, especially early on. Jeff Bezos didn't become Jeff Bezos overnight. Neither did Bill Gates. And no one who is going to attach themselves to their ego and not, want to speak to press, I've watched companies fall because of it, you know, and it's painful to watch because it's like, oh, okay, you want to keep turning down press only because you want to be picky about these ones. Your company is 6 months old. Who are you to be picky right now? You really need to just start speaking, you know, your vision. Let people know, get people on board. This is how you create that net. And then early on, as your time and whatever gets more valuable, and then I understand, but you find a way to play nice with media, simply because they move around and you never know when they're going to end up somewhere you want to be. So play nice and do it with strategy too, and patience, absolute patience. Rome wasn't built overnight. Neither is your company, and neither is your reputation. So give it time.
Wonderful advice. We appreciate that. Now, I'll tell you, out of all the press releases that I've ever written, I've done a lot. Maybe different outlets. Years ago, I did one press release, and it was a press release about Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah's couch.
I remember that episode.
Right. And the gist of the episode, or the press release, was essentially, if he's happy, let him be happy. Like, I just wanted to get this out. I just wanted to vent. You know, I got calls from the Science organization asking me to come speak. And I said, I'm not interested in Scientology. But I just wanted to share this. Karen, you had a response. I mean, you can't give us clients or, you know, specifics where you were surprised.
Oh gosh, I think that's happened a couple of times. Let me see. Well, you know what? Just recently, so MobiTV, I love them to death. They are in the middle of a reshaping, right? So when they first were launched, they had a different leadership team, 3 founders, love them to death. They pioneered mobile television. Mm-hmm. So, you know, God bless them. And they're, you know, one of the reasons we can all watch live television on our phones, right? And so then as things evolved with the industry, new CEO came on board, and then they started making some changes. And now their new focus is actually helping cable companies shift to get rid of the cable box and deliver full cable lineups through an app, because that's what the people want. People want to have an app to basically do everything. I don't want a big old cable box in my house next to my Apple TV, next to my Roku, why don't you just download an app to the Apple TV? How do we get them to do that? So it's almost like they were a startup all over again when we took them on. It was starting from the ground up. We started slowly rebuilding because people were thinking, well, didn't the company go away? What happened to MobiTV? And I was like, we need to rebuild this brand, you know, because it was like, you know, all that hard work years ago. So we're redoing it. And so over a couple of years, more and more press started paying attention. They raised some funding, you know, some money, made a great announcement then, kept building because the press and the sales team and, you know, God, the tech team, they're just amazing. They're killing it. They're like literally the leader in app-based cable now, right? Consumers wouldn't know that. You still buy cable the way you do, but we work with the cable companies to be able to do that. Well, they just raised another $50 million. So proud of them. They raised another $50 million. That means that people believe in them. Their business model is working. This is all great. We made that announcement last Monday. And we probably had, and mind you, I'm not the type of PR person that believes that press release regurgitations are press. Mm-hmm. It's not. A bot does that. You need to land actual stories where a reporter reads the press release, interviews the executive or whatever, and writes. Mm-hmm. We're at about 110 stories.
Congratulations.
For that announcement. I'm like, it just for that, I didn't expect. I thought, well, maybe, if we're lucky, the last funding announcement, we got about 30. The goal, let's get about 50 stories. You know, we have way more media friendlies who are on board with the new vision. I mean, the CEO was just on Cheddar TV last Monday, literally flew into New York for the day. And then a new article with Entrepreneur Magazine just went live over the weekend. And we were like, we weren't anticipating that. So now it's beautiful. Like, it has blossomed, and MobiTV went from kind of being underground and keeping things quiet to slowly getting that build again, and now just crushing it, absolutely crushing it in the media. And that's why I tell people, give it time and be patient, because even this 17-year-old company redoing things has to redo things with media too, and it's working, and it's awesome. Like, I'm just incredibly proud of my team, of MobiTV, just all of it all together. It's amazing.
Well, Nicole, I think you're awesome in that you crush it. At the end of the show, I always like to allow my guests the opportunity to directly to the audience what you want them to take away.
Okay, let's see. Top points. I would say really good PR is done strategically and over time. So don't expect that your company's reputation or even your professional reputation will be built overnight. It is something that you need to begin and not stop, right? The second you stop, people will turn their attention onto other things. So even if it's a slow start somewhere, be patient, and just keep going, right? The other thing is, you can't not be on social media. At the end of the day, this is where people search now. They will sometimes go to your social pages before they go to your website. They want to see how popular you are. It's a numbers game sometimes too. So even if you're starting from scratch, start somewhere, but you have to have some sort of social media presence. Even as an executive, at the bare minimum, get on LinkedIn. Start making connections. So I would say those would be like the top. Other than that, publicists work with celebrities, and that's all well and good, but there's plenty of really great PR people behind just about every single successful company that you see. They don't get in the news by accident. Unless they make a mistake, then that happens by accident, and then there's someone on my side cleaning it up. But regular coverage doesn't happen on accident. It happens deliberately and strategically.
Wonderful advice. What's your website again?
Yep, it is www.nrprgroup.com.
Wonderful. Nicole, thank you for being a guest on today's episode of Sharifah Videocast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great.
You are so welcome. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. All the hearts, all the likes, who joined us. Thank you for joining on this episode. If you are interested in watching or placing your product and service in front of the Sharifah, visit the website at Sharifah. Till then, everyone, bye now.